Hi there, thank you for joining me to chat about this Love is Blind Sweden. I am so excited to watch this because I want to review an international show, which is perfect because I usually see just American shows. So I'm curious to see how this will go down. So, in this episode, we meet a few of the singles. Some got a little bit more screen time than others, but I will go into the couples that were made or the I guess, connections that were made in this episode or who they filmed most extensively. And then I'll also include the cast info, like a meet the cast segment. So you can skip over that if you don't want to see that. And then just come to the recap if you want to. So we met Chrissy Lee. She is an interior design. She has interior design work. She's an Estonian descent, but she moved to Sweden when her mom got married. And she took an instant liking to Rasmus. Rasmus is, I think he's 32, and he is self-employed. Rasmus also likes her as well. He says he's handy, he makes his own lamps, and he is not afraid to talk about his feelings, which is cool. And she mentions that she was a morning person, and he is also like that. She asks if he likes tattoos. He likes tattoos as well. She has a sleeve. And I believe he said that he has two. They both have a dog. So they have a good bit in common. He also had mentioned at one point that he likes having a lot of balls in the air. So I don't know if this is a hint that he's a player or he's not going to commit right away. But anyway, after chatting to Chrissy Lee, he had an extensive chat with Katya. I think Katya was she an HR person? Let me see. Katya, yeah, an HR specialist. And she is 32. So they had a little bit of a chat there, and he mentioned about, going on a dream vacation, an Italian vacation where they tour wineries and sleep wherever, and she liked the idea. She liked talking to him as well. After chatting with him, Katya came out all excited to the lounge, and she likes the same person that Chrissy Lee liked, and so she asked who it was, and so now that she knows that it was Rasmus that she was talking to, she was a little bit emotional, and although she feels like she shouldn't, she really likes this guy, and, it's scary for her, and, it's kind of different with, being around the people that you're dating the same guy. But anyway, she gets emotional because Rasmus is her number one, and I don't think we've seen her, or not that they've shown, chatting it up with anybody else, not to an extent anyway. So then the next time that she sees Rasmus, she mentions the interaction with Katya and how it made her feel, how difficult it was for her to hear that she was having this interaction with him and how scary it was for her. And really, I thought he would have been turned off by this because, of course, it's so soon. They only had one interaction that we saw, and so, I thought he would feel like she would be coming off clingy. But he wasn't turned off at all by that. Chrissy Lee also told Rasmus at one point in another conversation later on in the episode about her rough childhood. And this thing again, I was wondering, if this would be a turnoff for him, because she was telling how basically her mom had her as an indentured servant. Basically, she had a rough childhood. She was just there. She felt, just to be her helper because she would run the errands, she would do all the work around the house. And she said from an early age, she was caring from her mom, probably from the age of 4. I think she mentioned, doing stuff, I guess. Her mom would just boss her around, basically, do this, do that. And it seemed like her mom may have had an alcohol problem. She mentioned her being passed out or something to that effect. So that really sucked for her. And she mentioned how, she never felt cared for, and that she never had a childhood, a normal one anyway, and she never thought that she could be loved. So that's a lot, of trauma in her childhood. And I just wonder if she ever sought therapy for that. That's a lot to carry. So anyway, he was very calm and very empathetic. She also talked about physical, just when he thought that was it and it couldn't get any worse, she told him about physical punishment that she endured if she didn't comply with the rules that her mom made. And he was okay with talking to her about it because she was like, "Is this too much?" He was like, "No, I really want to get to know you better and get to know the people that I'm talking to." So, you know, he didn't judge her. He was just willing to listen and let her talk. And, he compliments her and tells her that, his family would be her family as well, which was really, really sweet. And she tells him that she's in love with him, and they laughed and joked about it. I don't know if either of them took it serious, but he comes off like a really nice guy, but I just wonder if this is really genuine or if he's just a smooth operator. Anyway, Rasmus, in his confessional, said that he never thought that, these conversations in the rooms could be meaningful. And in one scene, we saw where he was chatting with Christopher, and he was talking about Chris Lee, and he was like wondering like what she looks like. And he admits to Christopher that he's a bit shallow, and he was wondering, if she might be Chinese based on her name. He's worried about how he looks. Of course, being shallow, he wants a certain type of, wants somebody to be good looking. And he had mentioned something about, what if she was a 3 and there's other people out there. So he's worried about the physicality of it all. And so I thought after this conversation that he would continue to speak to other ladies. But the next time that Rasmus met with Katya, he told her that he was not feeling well about how things were going and moving forward in the process, having to get to know multiple people. He wanted to limit himself a little bit more. And so basically he told her that he didn't want to continue to get to know her. And so, yeah, he was going to focus on Chrissy. So Chrissy meets up with Rasmus again, and he told her that, she told him that she had told herself that, when she was looking for someone, when she entered this experiment, that, she had her ideals of what she wanted, and that he's better than anyone else that she has ever met. She says that in her mind, if she ever met a man who had floored her, then that she would go down on one knee. This is something I'm more of a traditional person. Of course, look, I don't care how much I like someone. I'm not going to propose, but she gets down on one knee. She's like, I'm getting down on one knee on the other side of the little door and asked him to marry her. And he said yes. He says he's in love with her as well. He's very happy. They both happily report their engagement in their respective lounges. So when Rasmus got back to the guys' lounge, the guys asked if he proposed, and he says she's the one who got down on one knee. I kind of didn't like the way he said that. I mean, I don't feel like the guys needed to know that. He could say yes, she asked or whatever. She didn't have to mention that she's the one who went down on one knee. But anyway, he is scared that he may not like her. But anyway, these two are quickly off the market. Now, Katya is 32 years old. She's an HR specialist, and she was talking to Rasmus and Christopher. Christopher is self-employed. I believe Rasmus also was self-employed, but Rasmus is 32 and Christopher is 34. So now when Rasmus gave her the news, she took it pretty well when he told her that he wanted to limit his pool, I guess, of people he was talking to. And she said that she wasn't quite ready to stop seeing Rasmus as yet. She wanted to find out more about him. However, she didn't really break down in the pods when he delivered the news. However, she did openly cry in the lounge when she finally got back out, and we could see one of the other ladies comforting her, which was funny because right after that, she said that, maybe everything happens for a reason, that she wanted to focus on Christopher, which made me wonder, why were you crying if it wasn't that big of a deal? Are you just now interested in Christopher now because Rasmus is out the picture, or did you kind of like him? I just wonder which one of these two that she genuinely liked more, because it seemed like now she's interested in Christopher because Rasmus is no longer in the picture. She never said which one she liked more, but I just wonder if now she's talking it up because now this is the sole connection that she has. Well, let me know what you think. Do you think that she was more interested in Rasmus than Christopher? Is she putting all her energy in Christopher now that Rasmus is out the picture. I feel like she should probably see other people as well, just to make sure that she knows or can be certain in who she chooses if she chooses someone. So now, before the breakup with Rasmus, Christopher and Katya had chatted for a bit in the pods, and they had a fun little exchange. I think Christopher, in his cast photo, I thought he had a little man bun. Let me see. Yeah, I think he had a little man bun. He kind of reminds me of like a surfer guy or like somebody who could be in a band. But anyway, he seemed fun and chill. At one point, he had asked in the conversation that they had in the pod how he could get her turned on, which I was like, what? But they had, they had talked about doing little things. Didn't get too sexual, but I thought that was kind of what kind of question was that? He told her that he was a giver, and Katya told him that she was a taker. They were a bit flirty, but not overly sexual. And at one point, he had asked her how she sleeps at night, what does she sleep in, and nude, etc., whatever. And he told her about his pink and white pajamas that he sleeps in. So he seemed kind of like a fun guy. Now that Christopher is Katya's sole connection, later on in the episode, after this whole breakup debacle, they meet up again, and she tells him about how anxious her life has been over the last few years because she was single after being in a long relationship. She moved to a new city during the pandemic and how she was alone and feeling lonely. She talks about having panic attacks and how she was feeling like she didn't want to die, but she was feeling like she didn't want to live anymore, how she would be on the floor, in the fetal position. And now it seems like she has it under control more, so she suffers from panic attacks. So it seems as though Christopher has some experience with that, or maybe know of somebody, but he says that he understands and that he could be a safe place for her if or when she has a panic attack. And he tells her that she's his number one, and he likes how very open she is with him and that he's her dream girl, which is cute. But I don't know, something just seems off to me in this interaction between the two. Is it just me? Let me know what you think of these two. We also meet Lucas, who is a 32-year-old operations manager. He has two sisters, and he's a middle child. He says that he wants kids, but he's not in a rush to do so. He says he usually doesn't jump in emotionally. He likes Carolina, who is 32 and a payroll controller, and then Amelia, who's a business manager. She's 34. He likes them. I guess they like him as well. I believe he chatted with Amelia first and then Carolina. And it just seems that Carolina is younger and, has more spunk. And I wondered how much older, or what the age difference is between the two. And after I checked on the age, I realized that they're not very much far apart in their age, but Amelia gives off such an older, more mature vibe, while Carolina just seems like, I don't know, she's giving me fun party girl vibe for some reason. Not that that's what she is, but they just seem completely different. Now, some of the conversations that Lucas has with Carolina have gotten into the topic of sex, whereas I don't believe that he's ever brought up sex with Amelia. And I tend to not like when men try to bring up sexual conversations, especially when you're getting to know them. They don't know you. You don't know them. Why are we talking about this right now? So I don't know. I don't know if I really like that. Carolina believes that sex is important in relationships, and in one conversation, Lucas had asked about her sex drive, and they talked about sexual preferences. So things got a little bit flirty between the two, and as you can see, much of a contrast in the interactions between Lucas and Amelia. In one of the meetings, Amelia had mentioned to him that before she came into the experiment that she had manifested a name. I don't know. How do you manifest a name? But she said that she had thought of the name that she would meet a person with the name Lucas. And so he says that she has been she's been his top for the whole time. And so she told this to Carolina, and after she had the meeting with Lucas. And so of course these two are trying to get on each other. I don't know, it's like tit for tat between these two, or they're competing for Lucas, it seems. And of course, he is the number one for Carolina as well. She likes him as well, and she's not backing down. So Lucas are both of these women's number one. In one of the meetups with Amelia, he said he wanted to tell her a little bit more about himself, and he talks about how messy his childhood was for him and his little sister. He says that he was caught between his mom and his dad, and he didn't want to tell his dad about how things were at his mom's place because he didn't want them to fight anymore. I guess any more than they already were. But his mom's place was indeed not okay, like they were telling their dad. And so he got emotional. She got emotional as well with whatever it was that he was telling her. We didn't really know. It wasn't disclosed as far as what exactly was being told, but it was something emotional for both of them. And so she was happy that he felt safe enough to talk about that. And he was, he liked the fact that he could talk about that with her. So he said that because of this experience with the divorce and how his life was growing up, he has learned from that, and this is something that he never would do to his children. So the conversations with Lucas and Amelia tend to be more serious and would be exchanges that you would have with somebody that you're taking seriously and possibly getting to know. But I just wonder if, he won't go for the fun girl versus the more mature and serious girl. Does he want a good relationship and ultimately a marriage, or does he want good sex? It seems, I guess time will tell what really will happen with Lucas and these two women. We also meet Sergio, who is 37. He is a DJ and now a soccer coach. The girls thought he had a big ego. He tried too hard to be funny, and I didn't really get a good impression of him either. He said he was trying to play hard to get. It seemed like he was trying too hard to be funny, and it didn't come over very well. So anyway, his parents are from Colombia, but he lived all his life in Sweden. And he said he is Catholic. At one point, I had in my notes that he was making weird sex jokes with the guys. And I don't know. I didn't really like that very well. He had been wooing Amanda and also talking with Alexandra, Kimia. Alexandra is an economist. Amanda is an economist. Alexandra is a secretary, and Kimia is a cosmetic nurse. But we've mostly seen just his conversation for the most part with Amanda. Amanda is 34 and she's a Christian. Her dad is also a pastor. It's very important to her that, she finds somebody with values and who her dad would approve of. And she seemed to have a lot in common with, or she feels that she has a lot in common with Sergio. Sergio says he's Catholic, but I just wonder if he practices at all, because he mentioned about how he used to be a DJ, how he lived in Barcelona, but that type of lifestyle doesn't really go well with being Catholic, considering that you have to be out in the club and that type of lifestyle. So I don't know. In one of the conversations, she had mentioned his similarities with guys that she has dated before. She said that he's lively, and he mentions about taking, I don't know, he suggested like he had a bad side, kind of, which I don't know if this is something that you want to tell somebody that you're getting to know. Is this bad as in, is this supposed to be something sexually covert, or is this supposed to be bad as in like, I'll break your heart? I don't know what he was trying to say. So later on when they meet up again, Sergio tells her that there were two people that he wanted to see today, and that he changed his mind and he only wanted to see Amanda. And she asked if he told the other guys, and he says yes, he told the other guys. He also mentioned people not thinking that he's religious or that he's family oriented, but he that was truly how he was, supposedly. He wants to know her more, and towards the end of the conversation that they were having in this instance, that he said to tell him more so he could dream about her. But she just said, I'm happy, funny, and wifey material. I don't know what he was trying to angle for. But anyway, she was very happy leaving the meeting and said, it's nice to have somebody focusing all on her. And her friends always told her that she needs to be with someone who, focuses completely on her. And so when she was in the lounge, she tells all the girls. So After she got back from the lounge, we see girls coming back from their pods saying that how they were being dumped. So first, we see where Kimia came back. Oh, she was dumped. Who were you dumped by? Sergio. So we see this look on Amanda's face like, how is Sergio dumping somebody if she was the only one? And she had broken it off previously. In the previous conversation, he had told her that he had broken it off. Next person comes back dumped, Alexandra. Oh, I got dumped today. Yeah. So in this conversations in the pods, he told them that first person, and I think it was Alexandra he told this to, that she was a diamond or something like that. No, I'm getting ahead of myself. So the day that he told Amanda that he broke it off with everybody else, he just wanted to see her, he then chatted with Kimia and Alexandra in the pod. And he said she feels like things just flow, and he thinks that she's awesome, and how he told her how he wanted to take the walls down and hug her or something like that. So he was also smooth talking Alexandra. So after this day, and rightfully so, we see him walking down the hall like muttering to himself like he's really stressed out because he had already told Amanda that he had broken it off with everybody else. So anyway, the next day he meets with Alexandra and tells her, oh, she's a diamond before breaking it off. And then Kimia, he told that he had fallen for somebody else that he wants to get to know. He wants to get to know Amanda. He feels bad, he says, because he doesn't want to hurt anyone. But we know the day before he had told her a different story. So when the girls came out dropping like flies saying that they were dumped, and Amanda realized that it was Sergio, she did not seem to like it at all. Now, one of the girls in the lounge was saying, this is good. This is what you want, you know. You want the person to focus on you. But she was like, but he told a lie. This is what she's saying to herself. Like, if there's one lie, you know, there's probably other lies. There's probably more lies. So she is rightfully concerned because he didn't really have to tell that lie. He could have just said that, you know what, I feel like I want to talk to you exclusively. Are you interested? You know, if you want to talk to me exclusively, I can just drop everybody else. He didn't have to tell that lie, and he told that lie. And then now, I don't think she's going to trust him going forward if she still talks to him after this. So tell me what you think. You know, would you give Sergio a chance or continue to talk to him if this was happening to you? Would you consider exclusively seeing him after this? I don't know. I think I would be turned off after this whole thing happened. There were also some other cast members that we met in this episode to a lesser degree. We met Mira. She is 30 years old, originally from Afghanistan. And she's also an economist, like Amanda. She mentioned that she had modeled and acted in the past. And she had some involvement in Bollywood. She's very, very pretty. And they had mentioned that she had only one relationship before. She had some conversations with Oscar, I think. And Oscar is 32, a financial advisor. I don't know if I like this guy too much. He was humbly bragging about being an elite swimmer and a trained pilot. He just came off a bit egotistical, but I don't know. We'll see what happens going forward. And he chatted with Amira. I think I mentioned that already. We also met Johan, who's 34. He's a salesman. And I thought he chatted with Mira as well. He is half Russian, Danish, I guess half Russian, Danish from his parents, born in Sweden. And Mira is also half Russian. And they have meditation in common. Mira believes in meditation, and he meditates daily. He says it's like a coffee. Meditation is like coffee for the day or something like that. Something to that effect. And there's some castmates that we haven't met as yet. So, let me know your thoughts on this episode, and let me know your thoughts on this debacle with Sergio.